Good morning, gorgeous ladies. I hope you are well. Coming to the end of yet another week again. I was hoping that we were wandering a little bit further towards spring because we've had some quite nice days, but today is pretty grey. Although having said that, when I went into the garden earlier, I noticed we've got daffodils, I've got roses starting to bud, not the flower part, but obviously starting to grow and what have you. Things are starting to become alive again, and that period of time between Christmas and spring, I really hate it because, you know, there are quite long days, there are quite long nights and things like that, and we've had Christmas and Christmas is over and done with, and you know, we're just waiting, or at least I feel like I'm waiting now, waiting to be able to sort of come alive again and, you know, really start to enjoy things coming on to summer and warm weather and longer days, and there's so much more possibility around that. I seriously feel much better in the warmer weather. Good morning, Kate. Hope you're okay. So today just wanted to have a chat to you about something. So I planned to talk to you today about what happens when your negative dialogue comes into play. But just as I went to log on, a quote came up. I have a motivational quote thing that pops up throughout the day and what have you, and I find it really helpful. And this morning said, the biggest battle is between what you know and what you think. And I thought, oh God, that is just so appropriate for what I want to talk to you about today. So do you find that in those rational moments of yours that you know that you are doing a good job at work, or you know that you're a good mum, or, you know, any of the other elements that kind of come into our lives, you know really what's going on. But then that voice inside your head goes, I'm here, and I'm going to tell you a whole lot of things to affect your internal dialogue, which means that actually you are going to feel much worse. And although having said that, that's not actually the intention behind it whatsoever. So your internal voice, your doubt, your fear, the thing that keeps you playing small, that's kind of going on internally, is just somebody who is in your brain, who is telling you these things. And there's a couple of different strategies that you can use in terms of what you're doing. Good morning, Luna. And thank you. I love this too. I thought today calls for a little bit of fanciness. So decided to pop this on out of my wardrobe this morning. So there are two different ways I deal with it in terms of clients having this sort of thought process, internal dialogue, and different things work for different people. So I just thought I'd come and talk to you about two of them and see if either of them resonate. So the first one is what resonates the most with me, which is about this inner child. It's the inner child who comes out and stops me from wanting to really reach for the stars. And not because she's mean, but because she's scared, because she's really frightened about what will happen if I put myself out there. She doesn't like the idea of rejection, so she wants to protect me from that. So she has the best intentions, but they're not quite right. So this is where I move into my I've got this mode, my queen mode. So she's my princess and I'm the queen. And I'd done sort of the child and adult before and it hadn't really worked for me. But another coach took me through this and I have definitely taken this on board because it massively resonates with me. So the princess inside you, she's going to do everything she can to be heard. She will turn the volume up. If you try and push those thoughts away, which is the worst thing that you can do for negative thinking, she will just be back to turn the volume up. She'll have a tantrum, she'll shout, she'll scream because she wants to be heard. And that's when my inner queen comes in and says, no, I've got this. I get that you're scared, but it's okay. Hold my hand and I'm going to take you with me. So recognizing that the inner child isn't there to hurt and harm you, but the inner child is actually there to protect you because she doesn't want you to put yourself out there is a really, really useful thing for you to recognize whenever that internal dialogue comes up. So the other one, so that one doesn't speak to one of my other clients. So we put this other opportunity together for her and it's really, really helping. So for her anxiety is called Rebecca. Rebecca, for her, is this person who seemingly wants to be her friend, but actually doesn't have her best interests in heart. And actually what we had done is we'd gone through a bit of a process and a strategy to recognise the fear was Rebecca. The fear of her not being good enough at her job. She's got like a really high powered job. Don't ever ever think that people in these amazingly high-powered jobs don't have their internal demons, because they absolutely do. I've got a number of people from really high up corporate businesses in famous companies who really, really struggle. Their staff don't know that, but they know internally that something doesn't quite feel right. So please don't think that people who are in these corporate jobs just don't have these problems, because they do. And that means it's okay for people in business, for people in other jobs. It's okay for us to have them too. It's normal. But it's recognizing that actually you don't want that. You want something different instead. So for her, it's much easier to talk about Rebecca in a way of a slightly unhealthy friend. So I'm sure at some point we've all had a friend who hasn't quite got our best interests at heart. Maybe you are the person that they go to, but you kind of don't get it in return. So Rebecca wants to stop her from feeling comfortable at work, because actually Rebecca feels that it would be much better if Rebecca makes sure that she knows that she could have made a mistake. And she better find it out herself before somebody else finds it, because that would be worse. So that means that she's spending so much energy on making sure she hasn't made a mistake that actually she's struggling with efficiency and productivity in the things that she does need to do. So have a think about those. Do one of those really resonate with you? Is it the princess and queen, or the child and adult? Or is it this not quite got your interests at heart Rebecca, or whatever you want to call her, because maybe your best friend's called Rebecca, so calling your anxiety Rebecca just isn't going to work for you. But give it a think about. Oh, Becky, I'm so sorry, lovely, you've just joined. And Zara as well. You might need to go back and watch these on, watch these on replay, because I think this is a really, really important thing. So in your rational days, you know you're absolutely fine, you know you're doing well. In the other times where it's a bit more difficult, you struggle then to put that to the side. You struggle to do anything but kind of welcome it in. See which one of these works for you, to understand the fear that's inside you, because once we understand it, we can make decisions. Yeah, Katie Jane, that's really not going to work, is it? Don't call your anxiety Rebecca when your daughter's called Rebecca. Probably not a good plan. But make up the name and see what kind of works for you, because it's not a one size fits all thing at all. It's what works for you. And that's one of the things that I make sure that I'm doing in the sessions is, this is the outcome that I want you guys to get to. How am I going to do that for you in a way that speaks to you? It's not a one size fits all approach. It's about me finding the best way of how you take things in and what you do. So working with me one-to-one obviously is very different, but there's just 2 strategies that you can have a look at and see what works for you for that inner demon, because that quote that I said at the beginning is absolutely right. You know, there is a big tussle between what you know to be true and what your head is telling you what you think to be true. So give it a go. Lovely to see so many of you. Thank you very much for joining me. Sorry if you got sort of part way through and need to go back, but this stuff is really important today. I feel very passionately about this particular live today. Go back and have a watch. Lots of love to you all. Have an amazing weekend. And because I don't have colleagues and things around me, I've only got you guys to tell. It's my birthday on Sunday and I'm super excited. So lots of lovely plans coming up. Have a great weekend all, and I will speak to you soon. Lots of love.